Hey guys, it's Shawnna, and I've missed you guys like so fucking much. Like, you guys do not understand. I have had a lot of stuff go on in my life in the last couple months, and I really pretty much had a really big reality check the other day and a realization this is the direction I want to go with my life. This is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy, and this is fun, and I want to keep doing this. So today is October 1st, and I wanted to post something creepy today, so I'm going to post a creepy story time for you guys. About a year ago, I filmed a paranormal experience video, which got a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback, and a lot of requests on me to do a part 2, which is what I'm doing today. So I'm going to get on with the stories for you guys. So the next couple stories I'm going to be talking about are not from my point of view, they are from my mother, and these are just some of the creepy stuff that happened to me as a kid. So the first one starts off as I was probably 5, maybe even younger than that, but I was old enough to talk, and I was out in the living room playing with some toys while my mom was watching TV. I have a a TV stand out in my living room that has a lot of photos of family and also family that had passed away. And one of the photos happens to be my grandmother, which is my mother's mom. I guess I was really talkative with my toys that day, and I was just kind of going at it, and my mom kind of really didn't think anything of it, you know? Until I pretty much stopped playing with my toys and started having a really serious conversation with the corner of my living room. And my mom decides to get up to ask me who I'm talking to, and I point up to the photo of my grandmother, and that was the first time anything like that had ever happened, and I guess many times after that it kept happening. So my dad was trying to get a job at a hotel in San Diego called the Hotel Coronado, and if you guys don't know, this place is very haunted. It's been like on top 10s, and like a lot of paranormal people have gone there to do stuff for them, and it's just a very haunted hotel. And as a 5-year-old, I should know nothing about it, right? So my mom sits down with me one day to start talking to me because either A, we were going to move down there, or my dad was going to be just gone more like often, and I wasn't going to see him a lot, and she was just going to sit there and explain to me what was going on. So she goes and pulls out a picture of the property to show to me where my dad is going to possibly work at, and I guess I ended up having kind of like a little freak out. I got very agitated, I guess, and I started saying things like, no, I don't want daddy working there, like, it's scary, like, what else did she say, that, there's something there, and I kept repeating that phrase, that there's something there. And at first my mom's kind of like, what is she talking about, you know? And then it clicks with her that I'm talking about the place being haunted, and she's like, I've never even brought this up to my daughter, like, you know, she was just like kind of really puzzled about it and didn't understand why I kept saying that, and she started asking me questions, and I just kept saying there's something there. And so my mom was pretty much like, ooh, like, that's weird. But luckily my dad ended up not getting the job there, but a couple years later he ends up getting a job at another haunted restaurant. So that leads into my last story. So basically my dad started working at this restaurant that was very haunted, and it was built on an Indian burial ground, which I feel really bad about. But my mom loved to get a lot of food there. And so I would, you know, travel with her to go get food, and most of the time I would sit out in the car and, you know, just not go inside the restaurant because I did not even like being on the property in general. But one night it was really late, and my mom wanted me to go inside with her because it was dark, and so I basically was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And so I went inside the restaurant, and I vaguely remember this happening, but I guess I was starting to have like pretty much a panic attack. Like, I was just not wanting to be there. I wanted to go, like, it wasn't fast enough for me. And I guess I started seeing people that weren't there and that didn't look like from this time era. I started telling my mom that, and my mom like started realizing that I was freaking the fuck out. And basically she finally got our food and we went to go, and I pretty much never went inside that restaurant ever again. I didn't even like going there when mom would pick up food. I would just sit out in the car and just wait for her. But since my dad had like left that store, I never went back. So now fast forward to I'm middle school now, and I'm hanging out with my neighborhood like friends, I guess you could say, and we decided to go walk on my friend's dog. And we go to this like park, which was my elementary school one time, and they left everything the way it was, but it just became a park. So we go out there, it's 9 o'clock at night. I don't know why we're walking the dog at 9 o'clock at night, but we were. And we're just chilling, we're walking the dog, and we ended up getting into these two trailers that had like a pathway between them, and so we decided to go walk through them. As we're walking, I hear one of the wood panels on the door, not the door, the trailer, pop open, and I kind of like stopped and looked, and I didn't see anything, and I was like, alright, so I gotta start walking again, and then I hear this deep grunt, like a male noise, like a grunt of a guy, and it was very deep, and I hear that as I start to walk, and I stop and I ask my friends if you guys heard that, and they're like, no, we didn't hear anything, and I was like, well, okay. And so I kind of like pause, and so I start to go walk again, a little bit faster this time, and then I hear the wood paneling of the trailer completely fly off, and I hear something kind of like crawling from underneath the trailer, and I hear that deep grunt again, and I fucking take off running. I don't even want to see what the fuck it is. I mean, I couldn't see anything anyway, it's like pitch black, but I take off running, and I'm pretty sure my friends ended up hearing what I heard, and they started running too. And we got back to the house, and I told them, like, did you guys see anything? Like, I didn't see anything. And they're like, no, we didn't, but we heard the noise, and they got really scared. So 2 days later, I am driving past the school with my mom, and it's like early in the morning, and I end up seeing a lot of cops, like one ambulance, and a bunch of people standing around the trailer from the incident happened, and I see a yellow body bag, which means someone died. And so my mom was hoping they would be on the news. So later that day, my mom ended up seeing like the news thing for it. And I guess it was a homeless guy that had passed away, and he was living in that trailer for a while, but he had passed away 2 weeks ago. From what they can tell, his body was decomposing, and I guess somebody found it because of the smell. So what creeps me out now is that either A, it was somebody that found him, and it was like a friend, or somebody was coming to check up on him and found him, and that's what I heard coming from the trailer, or it was something else. Like, just, it's really scary to think of that part of the story. Like, I can't really clarify if this is paranormal or not, but that's still really creepy to think, if you know what I'm saying. I have tried to look up like the news article for this, and I cannot find it anywhere. I wanted to put it in the description so you guys could see, but I cannot find it. Now, these are some of the stories that I talked about in my paranormal video, which were some things that were currently happening to me. So after I posted that, stuff did happen, and that I kind of waited a while because it was starting to scare me, and I didn't really want to talk about it because I feel like when I acknowledge it, things happen more, if that makes sense. So this is a year span of things happening, like currently to me. So after I had posted that video, I had an incident for a week straight. This window right here would open up, like I would shut it, and then the next morning I'd wake up, it'd be open. And I remember, like, an example, I would be like, it'd be super hot, I would open it up to air my room out, and at the end of the night when it got dark, I would shut it, and you physically have to like switch the lock over. It's not one of those locks that could easily just like pop open, you know, it's like something you physically have to lock. And it's locked from the inside, and I woke up the next morning and that shit's open. And there was multiple times where I kept shutting it, it'd be open. I even had my mom, I physically made my mom lock it because I was scared. I watched her lock it, and the next motherfucking morning that shit was open. Like, unlocked, open, and everything, and I was just like, no thank you. And it stopped, it hasn't done it again. And this is another incident where it was in the middle of the night, we're both asleep in his bed, and he had a salt lamp. I will insert a picture what a salt lamp looks like, but it's like a really pretty like light, and I was starting to wake up at this point in time, and I kind of see something like move past the light, and I could see it like, you know, cover the light and then, you know, walk past it, you know? And I kind of like get up thinking, A, it's his dad checking up on us, because he usually does do that, and or I thought it was one of the dogs, but then again, the dogs aren't that big, so they couldn't have covered the light, but I still checked anyway. As I was checking, I started to get this very uneasy like feeling, really like weird energy, and I felt like I was being watched. And at that point, I got the heebie-jeebies and laid back in my bed and rolled over to my boyfriend, and then like on the wall I can still see the light, and I saw it walk past the light again, and then the energy and like the uneasiness left the room, and I was just kind of like weird, and I kind of went back to bed. I want to say later in the week the same thing happened again, but it was during the day, and so I didn't really have a light this time, but we were like, he had came home from school and I was asleep, and I started waking up again, and then I felt like something had entered the room, like was staring at me, and it was very uneasy once again. And I once again was just really creeped out, and it walked and left out of the room, and it left, and I went back to bed. So now it's during Christmas time now, and there's a heat dish that they have that my boyfriend has. I don't know what, like, they're kind of just like a heater. I'll insert a picture what it is. I'm trying to show you visuals of what things look like. And that stuff, you shouldn't leave it on, because it can like literally burn down the house. And also when you turn these on, they make a very distinct noise, like a humming noise, and they have a low, a medium, and a high setting. So we come home from doing something super late at night, and everyone's asleep. I don't think his sister was home, so his parents were upstairs, and the heat dish was downstairs. And I could tell it was off too, because there's also a light when it's also on. I could tell it was off, and there was like no heat coming from it. And we decided to go into the kitchen and start making some food. And as we're making food, we hear the humming noise of it turning on, and we both stop and look at each other, and we're like, that was weird, you know? And he kind of goes back to what he's doing, and I couldn't really go back to what I was doing, so I went to go check it out, and this shit was turned on to like halfway up to low, and it was still making the humming noise because I wasn't fully like turned on all the way. And I was like, oh hell no. I was like, this is fucking creepy. I went and told him, and he was like, yo, what the fuck? And it was very strange. And yeah, that was really weird. That happened at his house again. So now, months later, this happened in May before VidCon, I was dead ass asleep, and I was having a dream, and in my dream I felt like something was in my living room, and it walked into my room. And at that point I woke up from a dead ass sleep, and I got this very uneasy feeling like something very tall and big was staring up like at me from like above, and I could not move. I couldn't like leave at my room and run to my mom's room. Like I was stuck in my room because it was there right in front of my bed. Like it was literally right here. And it happened like for a long time. It felt like an hour, but it was literally just a couple minutes. And I basically like got up finally, because it kind of like left my room, and I got up and bolted to my mom's room. And as I'm running to my mom's room, my mom is wide awake, sitting at the edge of her bed, and she like looks at me and she's like, was someone walking out in the living room like a minute ago? And like that creeps me out, because that just happened to me, because like my room's connected to the living room basically. And like I started like freaking out, I started crying, I started telling my mom what happened. Mom's like, oh my god, like that's really scary. And that literally was probably really terrifying to me. Like I hadn't had anything like that happen to me before. So the last one that currently happened 2 weeks ago, I was trying to film this current video, and I just kept having weird things happen. Like my TV kept turning off, I kept hearing weird things outside, so I got pretty paranoid and turned off the video and decided to go watch YouTube videos out in the living room. As I'm watching them, I have my headphones on, and I clearly hear my mom say something, so I pull them off and go, Mom, like, did you say something? And I don't get a reply. So I kind of go to put them back on. As I'm turning back to my computer, my fridge pops open. And I'm like, that's weird. So I go over to my fridge to go shut it, and as I'm shutting the fridge, I hear at the door like a popping noise. And at that point, I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm just gonna go to bed. So I put my headphones on, listen to music, fall asleep. I wake up the next morning to my mom basically bitching at me, telling me why I left the door unlocked, and that, did Kyle come over? Why didn't I lock the door? I should have. And I go and tell her, Kyle never came over last night. And she's like, then why were both the doors unlocked? Because I have like 2 doors, and they were both unlocked. And I physically remember her locking the doors before she went to bed, before I started filming videos. So somehow those doors unlocked like that night. And then it clicks to me that that popping noise was those doors unlocking, and some weird shit was going on in my house, and that literally happened 2 weeks ago. So that's the end of my video. I hope you guys liked it. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I plan on making more creepy related videos because it is October and it's my favorite fucking holiday is Halloween. So I plan on making some conspiracy theories, maybe some mystery murder stuff, I don't know, creepy ass shit. I have like a couple stories with my friends I want to get her on my channel so we can talk about those. But yeah, I plan on making more videos, and I also have social media you guys can go check out down below. I just added my Snapchat, so you guys can go follow me on Snapchat. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay spooky.